Today, I'd like to share some ways that I get my energy flowing again, especially on days when it feels stuck or I had an intention to complete something and it's not happening for whatever reason. And I want to encourage you to look at ways that you can flow with your energy instead of fight it. Because I find that this fight that we have, this desire to strive for something, takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of energy, and it can actually kind of miss out on the opportunity of operating in a way that's actually in much more like unity with our higher vision, with our bigger vision. And so, here are a couple of the things that I do. First of all, um, I don't have a schedule where I must complete A, B, and C every day in these number of hours, right? Now, if you're at a job, it might be different. But even when I had jobs, which was like many, many years ago, I usually had enough independence to shift things around according to what my energy was most relating to in the moment. So if you're on a job, you can try that. If you have your own business and you know that um, the availability of such freedom usually to say, hey, what am I going to do first or next, is can be high to a point where it can be overwhelming. And so having some kind of structure or guidelines, and yes, I would like to get this done today, can make a big difference. But that spaciousness, I find, as an entrepreneur is highly valuable because it will allow you to access opportunities that you wouldn't be able to if your schedule is booked solid all the time. It doesn't leave space for the brain to get as creative as it can. It doesn't leave space for spontaneous invitations that can come, or opportunities, or maybe some kind of message that you would actually like to reply to because it's important or relevant to something you're working on even. So having a spaciousness is easier when we have that kind of schedule that can shift according to our energy as well. But what happens if I do want to get something done and I'm unable to, or like I don't, my creative juices aren't flowing as much as I'd like? Um, One is simply walk away and go do something else. And sometimes that something else, I've learned, can be literally 2 minutes. Sometimes the physical act of standing up, walking to something, and returning can totally shift my energy. Like it's just mind blowing sometimes, right? Because maybe it's just that like the sitting and this is like a static or something, and that movement shifts you away. It also moves you away from the thoughts of, oh no, I can't get this done, or I feel stuck, I feel blocked. All of those are just thoughts. We don't have to believe them. So if you kind of just step away and come back, you might be refreshed by that. Other times, of course, I might actually walk out the door and, take a 10-minute walk even. And that, without fail, always, always energizes me. Fresh air, the natural light, seeing people, seeing nature, um, breathing, more oxygen out there, and just movement, feeling, a part of something instead of, me alone trying to work on something. So, as I said, literally like a 10-minute walk can do wonders, and it's amazing. And sometimes that walk turns longer if I just feel like, wow, this feels so good that I'd like to continue it. And then, an energy builds during that time. And there's another small technique that I've used at times that's really, again, surprises me. So let's just say, like, I'd like to work on something and it's not happening. Um, I'll write out exactly what I'm feeling. I'll literally, usually I type, and I'll type something like, oh, I want to get this project done today, but gosh, I feel really lethargic about it, or apathetic about it, or I just can't seem to have, like, the ideas just aren't flowing and it just feels exhausting. And literally, I have discovered that sometimes writing like 3 lines can be enough for me to like get that out of my system. And then all of a sudden I'm in motion again, remember? Like I'm in motion even by typing something out. And then my energy returns. And other times I write a whole paragraph. Sometimes I write 4 paragraphs, right? But writing it down, what it's doing, all of these little things are getting us out of that energy of I am stuck and moving us, bringing in some kind of motion that is honoring where we are and providing something, right? Providing either the outlet for that expression, that outlet for those feelings to be let out, the outlet for physical movement, and the outlet for actually engaging with the world. And then, as I said, like it's just like the energy can literally come back, and then not only come back but actually come back in a state of excitement and much more connected to what my highest vision is and where it's going, and then the purpose of it, the meaning of it, the joy of it all comes back. So I encourage you to try these out, and you might find that the day flows by much easier, and strangely you might get things done. Like sometimes I've stopped when I feel that stuckness and literally gone and done a small task or errand that I was like, oh, I really wanted to do that today or this week, and I get it done in that moment. Then something else is done, and that gives me a sense of completion and that little dopamine hit of I've done something, and then I come back, and as I said, then I'm energized for the project that I'm working on. So we don't have to be forcing ourselves. We can do it, and it can work, and it can get us results, but there is a toll it takes on us long term, and that's the part that I'm most like looking at, as in there because there's a cost. It doesn't make it as worthwhile as it will seem in the moment. It doesn't mean that there are times we don't have to kind of push ourselves or coax ourselves to some degree. And actually, that's a technique in itself, that little coaxing, right? So sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, let me just do a little bit. Let me do 2 minutes of this activity. And then I can literally stop, like, and honor that if that's what happens. But you might find after 2 minutes, like, hey, I think I'll do 10 minutes. And you'll do 10 minutes. The next thing you know, 3 hours goes by. So we can encourage ourselves. But all of these things that I'm mentioning are shifting our state to one where the desire naturally comes out of us instead of being forced upon us. Anything that has us feeling that confined experience. And then you can experiment with this for a week and see, hey, how did that go? Was I really off schedule, or did I end up doing more, or was it the same? And honestly, if you're at the same or better, I would say keep trying it, because it's obviously going to relax you more, but it's also going to have things done. And if perchance, let's just say your productivity went down, or you just don't feel like it was as great, switch it up the following week. Experiments sometimes require us to use them over a period of time instead of expecting quick results. But one of the guidelines I find is, if it has given you some energy or some joy, then you're going along the right track. Now you have to get your mind out of the way, because the mind, if you've got a busy one, it will assess you, it will analyze things, it will judge you, it'll tell you why it didn't work, it'll want you to go back to the familiar. And but again, that just may be a sign that something in you was shifting. And the ego mind has sometimes a challenge with that. It doesn't want to change. It likes the comfort zone, it likes the familiarity. And so it may say, hey, oh no, this person's gonna move forward and leave me behind. And so any of the fear that comes up, which can be quite natural, may just be a signal that, hey, you're doing things differently. And the key is, are you happier? Is there more energy in your life? Is there more sense of space? Or is there more sense of, hey, yeah, the right things are getting done exactly when they need to? So I hope this has helped encourage you not to feel down by any times of stuckness, but instead try little techniques to be just shift the energy, right? And there are days, by the way, where I'll just choose not to focus on the project that I had intended if I know that it just feels like an uphill battle. And then, 2 days later, like boom, I'm back in the zone again, right? So try these out and let me know how it goes.